Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about proxies, and specifically Warhammer 40K proxies. I'm not going to be able to pull this out all the way because it'll kind of show too much of like my desk area. But essentially, this is my Imperial Guard army. Now you can see, I'm going to try and move this around. You can see these are all my special weapons. In the back I've got, give or take, roughly, like total here I've got probably about 40 infantry. And that's just for general Cadians or Casterkin or so on. Now, in my opinion, proxies are kind of the best option because I don't want to spend, just all of this entire army, my entire army, ignoring all vehicles, cost about $126, give or take, in Canadian dollars. If I spent even $100 in Games Workshop, I would barely have 10 models. I would have maybe 15 models of Imperial Guard, which is outrageous in my opinion. So, what I did was I kitbashed a bunch of these guys, but most of these are basic Wargames Atlantic Italians. Now, so this video is mainly going to be talking about kind of proxying the army as a whole, but also little bits of warnings if you decide to go this route yourself. I would highly recommend proxying with World War II style models as well. Personally, I like these guys the most out of all of them. My only thing is I might have changed it by getting Russians instead, because I think you actually get more models for about the same price, if not slightly cheaper. But the Italians I really liked, specifically because of the bayonets. I always like bayonets on guns. But the basic infantryman is just a guy, backpack. I didn't even build these right. I'm missing like the side pack satchels and stuff, but that's okay. I didn't want to go crazy because I'm not great at painting 10 models of the same style, so 40 models was a little bit much. But essentially, all these guys are armed with these bolt-action rifles with bayonets. Now, I did break a few, so be very careful. These bayonets can snap really easy. And essentially what I did was I painted the models green, painted highlights on them, painted dark brown, specifically dryad bark, on anything that I felt would be dark cloth, and then highlighted it with Mournfang brown. All the iron is lead belcher. If there's any silver anywhere, it's going to be Runefang steel, which will be in my special forces. And then there's black as well. Obviously, that's just straight black. I believe the colors, the greens, are specifically Deathcore Drab and Death World Forest. And skin tones are Bugman's Glow with highlights of Cadian Flesh. Now what I kind of did was I made 40 of these guys, like I said, but I wanted to make special weapons to some degree, special. Unfortunately, I used most of my bits for my special forces, which I'll show after. But these are my basic Cadians. I still managed to find just enough for a plasma gun and a melt-a-gun proxy. So these I actually got. My fiance started a bit of a Sisters of Battle army. These are actually Sisters of Battle, melt-a-gun and a plasma gun. You can kind of faintly see where I started cutting. I had to cut off that fleur-de-lis, that little indent there. These guys are my sergeants with autoguns. I cannot remember where I got. I'm pretty sure these are like pistols from the House de Lac. The ammo pack is specifically, I believe, intercessor ammo packs for bolters. And this crest for my officers specifically comes from the Romans from Victrix, which I would highly recommend. And these sergeants, I gave little bonuses, little packs from, I believe this is a intercessor pack, but I believe those bags right there are actually Cadians. Except for that one, that's another intercessor bag. So I did 2 sergeants with autoguns. By the way, they've actually changed the rules since they built these guys. They added in bolters and a few other things. But essentially, these are I just proxy these guys anyway. Here, we've got sergeants with power weapons and plasma pistols. Now, I ran out of plasma pistols. You can see this guy actually ended up getting one of those House Cador pistols. I don't know if I actually gave him. I didn't give him really any pouches. This guy actually got I think it was another House de Lac pistol. And they also got the crests as well. Now, the swords specifically came from, what are they called? The Conquistador Cavalry from Wargames Atlantic. Now, honestly, while they are very good for this, I would never use these again. These swords are a bit too thin. They bend really easy. They break. I'm going to give you a quick look. I'm kind of worried about that. I really like this pose, but I built this pose on a Cadian Castellan, counts as. And as you can see, the sword snapped right off there. I'll show you more about them later. But essentially, I wouldn't use these swords again. What I did do, actually, if I can grab one off to the side, give me one moment. Here it is. I actually replaced, this guy also had one of their swords. It broke as well. I actually cut the hand off and replaced it with a Berber infantry sword, which is thicker, doesn't bend as much, and I believe it's from Fireforge or Wargames. No, I'm fairly sure it's Fireforge, but I'll tell you more about that in a bit. I also replaced their arms in some cases. Specifically, I went with like one right arm, one left arm each to have this frilled kind of Germanic, oh sorry, that's not at all one of them. Germanic, kind of like Lawns Connect sleeves. I did it one for these guys. I did one per arm, so it's like the right arms for these guys and or the left arms for these guys, the right arms for these ones. No, I'm wrong. This guy has a right arm, left arm, and these two both have left arms. It kind of was just because I really like that kind of a little bit of personalization. So I showed you the plasma guns and the melt guns. These guys were originally my grenadiers, but honestly I kind of didn't end up, I actually played a few matches now. I don't use grenadiers at all, or grenade launchers or whatever they are. So these actually, I started running these basic guys as my Kriegsmen, and for now that's my list. And these are going to be my medics. Though, in reality, I just play with my friends, so we just say, oh, this is so-and-so in this unit. The models don't really matter. I have, like, 6 of these guys, and they're just kind of whoever. I gave them the light machine guns you get from the kit. They just kind of count as whatever special weapons I don't have bits for, because unfortunately, like I said, I did run out. But that's my basic infantry. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to clear this off. I'm going to pull out my special guys, too. So give me 1 sec. And we're back. Sorry, I'm back. You guys wouldn't have seen the real difference. So now we're going to go on to heavy weapons squads. Now, funny enough, I don't really use these guys, but I did make a few, one of which is actually relatively accurate. And honestly, I kitbashed most of my army to some degree. So when you buy the Italians, you get these little light machine guns that they actually do have. But you don't get any armor for them, which the Imperial Guard does get armor, so I actually cut a bit of a plastic card that had these lines on it. And I kind of kitbashed my own like armor plating, spare ammo packs, stuff like that. I painted them differently to show they're kind of a different branch of the army. This one here has bullet holes, and I added this old Lego aim sight thing I had from a Brickmania kit or something like that. But yeah. So that's just my two. In the end, I actually ran these as heavy bolters, but we'll see if I ever do that again. I also kitbashed a few extras. This was a rocket launcher. This is actually a Lego piece, and that's a Lego piece. That's a Lego piece. I can't remember where I got this. That's a Brickmania Lego piece underneath there, I think. You actually can't see the Lego in there. But yeah, this is my rocket launcher. We have a las cannon here. This is another Lego bit. This is specifically, if I remember correctly, this is a Browning barrel. I can't remember though for sure. But essentially this is a turret that I turned into just a las cannon. This is a heavy bolter that I actually, funny enough, used a real Custodes bolter I had. A long time ago, I bought a kit of Custodes. I never really ended up using them as they were intended. But yeah, and I made this mortar as well. Can't remember where this pipe came from. I think it was a piece of Lego. Yeah, always look for stuff that you can reuse from your childhood. That's kind of fun to give it a new life. Like this is all, I think that's a missile pack actually from those from a set of those assaulters, or the it's a pack of 3 very heavily armored guys, not centurions, but they're space marines, aggressors I think. And that's an ammo thing from Brickmania I think. But yeah, this is these are supposed to be kind of like mortar shells, and this is a mortar for the heavy weapons squad. So we've got those. I'm just going to shift those off to the side. You'll notice I have this metal plate here. I have a bunch of these from my work. Came free. They were getting rid of them. So I got to keep them. All these are magnetic, so they don't fall. I use those. Now, we can start talking more. Actually, you know, I'm going to show you my field ordnance batteries next. Now, I would remake this one if I'd got another chance. Specifically this ammo pack and maybe the armor. It's not crazy bad, but like, you know, there's definitely room for improvement. But I gave 2 artillerymen. There's this guy. And yeah, you can see this is a lot of Lego. I super glued this in place, a bunch of this. But it's mainly Lego. This is also Lego from some knockoff kit I got a while back. That was very useful. This is Mega Bloks. I'm fairly sure it's an old Call of Duty set, or maybe it was Halo. But yeah, and this is just a paper straw that I filled with glue. You can kind of see down there, it's still kind of a straw. And this is all just Lego. But this, actually, funny enough, does not have the right base size. This is like an 80mm base. It's supposed to be 100mm, so you can see actually my magnet down there. But yeah. I don't actually... Oh, that's also Lego right there. But my friends don't care. We just play proxy anyway. These are Brickmania cannon shells. Very nice. I really like these. These came in perfect. Now this kit I cannot physically replicate because of this bit right here. Very good bit. I'll explain that in a moment. But this whole... Actually, even these sandbags I can't recreate because this comes from an old, it was this Technic or something from like when I was a kid. They don't actually produce this anymore, but I thought I'd throw it in there because I wasn't really using it for anything else. And yeah, but I got 2 officers here. This guy originally had a sword. Sword broke because all of these conquistador swords keep breaking, so I gave him a hatchet instead. Another rifle, as I said, the sandbags. This is all Lego except for a few pieces. Like that's a piece of plastic card there. That's Lego, like trimmed ends, trimmed a bit in the bottom, you know. This bit right here, one of the best things I ever came up with. This is one of those rocket battery things for the field ordnance. This actually came from Leia's ship in Star Wars. When I was a kid, I got this toy of it, and you could take it apart, and I don't know why, but I still had this piece specifically for it. So what I did was I attached it to this, and these are some Lego motorbike wheels or something from the old Call of Duty kits or Mega Bloks. And what I did was I did the wheels, got the Lego to kind of hold it together. This is literally just random garbage that's stuck together to make it stick, because in the end you aren't gonna see it. It doesn't matter, right? And that's kind of the trick, is you trick people's eyes into thinking it's something really well built when in reality it's just a bunch of random stuff put together. You can kind of see the original color down there. But yeah, I cannot physically recreate this, but this is honestly the best kitbash I can make of one of those rocket batteries for the field ordnance kit. Now, this is my Sentinels. I didn't actually know what Sentinels had as weapons, so I just chucked, this was a rocket launcher thing from Lego, Browning machine gun, another Browning machine gun, and this was just a plastic tube I got from Lego. I've been using these, actually, counts as armored Sentinels. I don't really use Scout Sentinels. I haven't really even used my field ordnance, but I'll be trying that out. But essentially, I took these Lego pieces, chucked them on the chassis of a Sisters of Battle flagellant machine. I can't remember what they're called right now. And I cut this guy's legs off, slapped him on. I reused the legs later. I'll show you. Actually, I'll just show you now real quick. This guy uses a Cadian body and one of the pairs of legs. I'll show you more about that later, but yeah. These guys, that's all they are, is just the flagellant machines. I just bought a box of them, and, you know, I didn't really have a use for them, so I turned them into these, and now I got Sentinels. I'll move those to the side there. Here's an actual official kit. I have not really changed a whole lot. I got, so here's actually first the official one. This is completely official. The only thing I've added, really, that wasn't part of this kit is this skull. This is from specifically the Tomb King Necrosphinx. So I actually, if you do this, if you ever make one of these yourselves, I let these move and this move. I should not. I would recommend leaving this one so you can move it too. I really like being able to move these guys. Easier for storage. Really unfortunate I melted that in place, but whatever. Can't. You know, in the future I'll fix it. But yeah, if I ever fix it, if I ever get another kit, I won't do it in the first place. But yeah. This is my Vanquisher cannon. This thing really did well when I played. I destroyed a dreadnought. No, I killed 2 dreadnoughts and a tank, a predator, with this thing. This thing was amazing. Now this is my more Kitbashed tank commander, Lehman Russ commander specifically. I used, I think I showed this on the video. This is all just cardboard, a few actual plastic bits. Cardboard, toothpicks, but yeah, this thing I glued in place because I thought, you know, I'm not really gonna bring this one around that much. It still looks good, but yeah, I'll just, you kind of get it, tank commander on the top. I'm gonna finish painting this at some point, but it doesn't matter, it's okay for now. This is my Ministorum priest. Now this guy, he uses I believe it's a house Cawdor body. The arms were a spear for the conquistadors. The head is a Bretonnian peasant head, specifically one of the archers. This is an Empire Flagellant, what's it called? It's a book from the Empire Flagellants. There's actually a Sisters of Battle, what's it called thing on there? Purity seal, you can see from the fleur-de-lis on it, in the mold. And the rest of this is just kind of as is. I slapped them on the base. Now, I specifically made 3 Cadian Castellans. Now, one of them I already showed you because he broke. But here's the first one. I wanted to kind of have a guy like holding back. I actually had to snap that gun to get it in place, but it looks pretty good, I think. This was a metal foil we were getting rid of at work too. And the metal, or not a foil, sorry, this is more, it was like a grating. I also made this guy. I really liked that kit a while back that Games Workshop released where the guy was wiping his sword clean, so I kind of added that, especially with a tissue paper in there, super glued in place, and with a bunch of the Blood for the Blood God. So that's this guy here. He's another Castellan. And this is the unfortunate who broke his sword. I don't even know when it broke, so I can't just re-glue the tip. So I'm going to be cutting this entire arm off, or maybe just the hand, and replacing it with Berber infantry sword's arm. But yeah, this guy was originally kind of like a leading men to the front kind of thing. Actually, you know what? I might even just cut just the angle right there so it kind of keeps... Doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe I'll show it in a later video, but that's my Castellans. I got 3 of them, and this is where it gets a bit different. So this model kind of had a spare Castellan, wasn't sure what I'd use him for. I ended up running him as Sly Marbo. It was very fun. Yeah, and the best part, technically, I'm not sure if anyone will really care about this or do this. Technically, you can bring back Sly Marbo with the reinforcement stratagem because it mentions you cannot return attached characters to a unit, but he is a unit of himself. He is not a character who's attached to anything. He's a single unit, and it says you can bring back a regiment unit, and he is a regiment unit. Technically, you can actually bring back Sly Marbo. If you have Ursula Creed nearby, you can also revive him for 1 command point less, once per game, which is what I did, luckily. Within 12 inches, if I remember right. These are my Cadian command squad, which will kind of swap back and forth. You can tell, honestly, I wasn't really sold on the color scheme of them, because I ended up kind of swapping back and forth. This guy got a full gray body, but he's a war drummer. This is actually a capacitor from a thing. I just super glued it. I did not drill into it, so I wasn't willing to risk that. I could have, but I'm really not going to. But that's a war drummer. This is a Vox caster. His face looks weirdly gray. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. Let me fix the light a bit. Yeah, it looks weirdly gray. Doesn't matter. I gave him it's a flamer in reality, from I believe House Cawdor, and a little shield and a bit of the end of a gun. But essentially, this is my Vox caster, my Master Vox. This is my bannerman. He uses a Berber infantry banner, which I believe I actually swapped right there. I cut off a spear from the conquistadors and slapped the Berber infantry banner on top there and a shield to protect it. Body is basic Italian infantry. Arms are replaced. That shoulder plate was a Chaos Marauder, a little bit of armor. The head is an Empire soldier from the Empire State Troops kit from, I think, 6th edition. They're the ones that were really good. Let me actually grab one real quick. These guys, really love them. Unfortunately, Games Workshop chose the worst, in my opinion, state troops to bring back, so I won't be running them at all. I'll be probably grabbing a kit of Empire militia, and those will be my state troops, since they wear more shoes somehow than the Empire actual state troops. I'll be running great swords, and that's if I end up playing. I'm just mainly collect. 40K is the first time I've actually really played wargaming. But yeah, that's the bannerman, which again, don't always run a banner, but yeah. This guy I also can run as Sly Marvel because he's got a giant sword and a giant pistol, but doesn't really matter. Funny enough, I think that's a las pistol thing I added to the end of that gun. Doesn't really matter. Important point is, head is Empire. No, the head is a conquistador head with a Greek, what's it called? Crest from, I believe, Victrix as well. It was specifically a Spartan kit. The sword is from the Bretonnian men-at-arms on foot, or Knights of the Realm on foot. The body was a 3D printed body for, I believe it said Empire, or 40K Regiment, the blue guys. They're kind of based on the United States Marine Corps. The water bottle right here comes from the Empire State Troops, the old ones. The legs are another one of those pilot's legs from the Sentinels. And yeah. Now this guy, I kind of did a mix between the two. I did legs from one of the pilots of the Sentinels, an actual Cadian old body, not a new one. I haven't bought a new kit. Head is an Empire head from the State Troops again. Arm comes from the Italians. The shoulder plate is a Cadian old shoulder plate that I carved off an arm. He's got an actual Italian rifle here. He's got some grenades. I like the idea that this was just like one of those noblemen who just kind of came along with golden gear just because he could afford it. But moving him off to the side, I'm going to show you next. I think I'll show you my Ogren. So funny enough, these are not actually all my Ogren. So what I did was I actually bought the Ogre Vanguard, I believe, kit a while back. And I finally built a bunch of them as these mountain hill giant things, half giants, for my RPG setting. But I thought, I have an Imperial Guard army, why not run them as Ogren? So I did. I kind of kitbashed these guys a bit. I gave this guy his can. I added a little plate of metal there just cuz. I gave him a cask of black powder, a cleaver, a bit. This is a Roman fur back for Vexillarius, I believe it is. Another cannoneer. Now I have more models off to the side. They're over by the wall. I don't really need to grab them because I just ran a unit of 6 of these. I added an orcish spiked shoulder plate from Warhammer Fantasy onto this. This is from a giant. I built a little thing to imply this is like a cannonball bag. He's got an orc dagger from the Iron Jaws. I had these guys, who I actually, fun fact, these are all left-handed. They do not give you right-handed ones, these, but you can't really see it. So what I did was I flipped the hand upside down. So that's actually a left hand on a right hand, but the weapons do come in left-handed as well, variants. So it just added a bit of variation. I did that. Now, these two are my boneheads. I didn't end up actually using one as bonehead. One I ran as a bodyguard unit. That one was just a bodyguard Ogren. And I ran this guy specifically as an Orc Dead Og. I haven't painted him yet. He was an ogre mounted guy. He was a Mornfang rider, but I believe I showed them off already, but I ended up kit bashing the Mornfangs into more like a goblin mount. I'll show those off later when they're more finished, but it doesn't matter. In short, I added an Orc drum kit. This is a Skaven shield thing from the Plague Monk kit. The rest is kind of its own thing. And then there's this guy here. I just kind of didn't really kit bash him that much. Oh, you have to paint. How did I not paint that? Oh, that's right. So this arm actually broke off. This was originally pointed outwards more. That's why that's unpainted, because that was attached there. That's okay. I'll repaint that in a bit. Actually, you know what? Give me 1 sec. I almost forgot I actually ran this guy, as an Orc Dead Og. So, this Ogren, this was the first ogre I actually kit bashed. For my RPG campaign, my players needed a mercenary, so I added in this guy who I've called Creve. And he's just a half giant who's willing to help for money. And he's carrying around this cask of wine or ale or something, maybe black powder. He's got this giant cleaver. He's got his he's got this giant, not scythe, essentially a giant blade, right? And a giant cleaver here, and a bag of something. And I used the shields that I actually got rid of for my my Mongolian style faction for the. Let me pull one out here. My Dark Oath, because I swapped their shields out. I haven't painted these guys yet. I got to. The footmen anyway. But I used their shields here because I like the idea that he's, just a rich dude, so he's just packing stuff on. I ended up adding a bit of string across to hold it in place. Kind of make that make sense. I cut the hand a lot, so I just slapped a bunch of string there to make it look like he's just wrapped a rope around his hand, so it actually hides any imperfections. But I really like this pose. He's the first one I kit bashed. Really, really nice models. I'm going to shove all of them off to the side now. So, my next one is this specific Cadian Castellan, who I also can run. I originally could actually run him as a Krieg Marshal, because originally these were kind of my Krieg guys. But they got rid of the Krieg Marshal completely, so I don't know. But he'll be a Cadian Castellan or something still. You can see I gave him a bit of a broken down fence, muddy floor, a bunch of chunks of wood to walk on. This great thing I got from an old thermometer that I bought, broke apart. Don't worry, it wasn't poisonous or anything. But yeah, and this guy, gave him that conquistador sword. I gave him a feather from the Italian kit, one of the Italian colonial heads. And yeah, I really like this guy. This is actually the first model I made for this army. He decided how what I called the Gardaniero, or Black Guard, would form around. And these are specifically, originally they were my Kasserkin. I also will run them as Scions at some point, but I haven't gotten around to running Scions yet. But these guys are where most of my cool extra bits really went into. These guys and my Kriegsmen, which I'll also show my Kriegsmen in a bit. So, I made, again, bunch of guys with muskets and bayonets. I actually ran out a little bit because I wasn't sure if I wanted to split the muskets with my infantry. I really should have gone all muskets and bayonets, but some of these guys got these submachine guns. They're okay, I don't really like them. I always like the musket machine with the bayonet. These were originally my volley guns. I don't really use volley guns. I found them because I've only played against my Space Marine buddy, and volley guns are effectively useless in my experience, unless maybe I was rolling wrong. But yeah. Then we have, again, Grenadier. Just a Grenadier. That's pretty much it for non-special weapons. Then we get into the special weapons. So first of all, this is my Vox guy. I gave him like a little bit of a radio to be shouting in. I still gotta color those fingers that are holding the radio itself. But he's got a little eagle back there from the Roman kit from Victrix. And yeah, he's a radio man. Here is my first plasma gunner. Again, looted these bits from random other kits. Actually, you know what? I'm missing my other plasma gunner. Give me one moment. Oh, actually, never mind. Saw him right here. So, actually, I meant to mention that the helmets. These are Bretonnian Knights of the Realm heads that I shaved the tops off and slapped these feathers onto. Fun fact, I actually messed up this. This thing was super glued on the side. It got rid of all the cool texture, so I just kind of hit it by him blocking where it kind of really got bad with this hand, and the rest you kind of won't need to see, so it doesn't really matter. I gave them also these aggressor backpacks that look kind of like a bit of extra plate armor or something. But yeah, those are the plasma gunners. The melta gunners, I really should have done 2 of the exact same gun. I may one day come back and fix these, but essentially I used a gun from the Ash Waste Nomads that looked very melta gunny, and this was Kitbashed. I don't like this one. I like all of this model, except the head is too big, the gun doesn't match. One day I'm going to take this apart and rebuild it, but that's not today. But yeah. So 2 melta gunners, 2 plasma gunners. I had 2 flamers. I actually like how both of these came out. I wish they were kind of the same style, but honestly, they look good either way. So these ones I'm actually not too angry about. I think this is the end of a Imperial Guard melta gun or a aggressor melta gun, or sorry, flamer, attached to a. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what this gun originally was, but essentially, I added in a bunch of little stuff to make this more like a portable flamethrower with just this vent backpack, and another, this was an old helmet I get from Fireforge from their knights, and this guy was more like an actual flame gunner, so he's got a backpack with fuel tanks back there. He actually has that skull there from that aggressor hand, and this is a flamer, I think, from the actual Acadians, and the gun is one of those heavy or light machine guns from the Italians. Finally, this guy I made, I never really used this guy until I actually realized how awesome he is, and he's just completely free to bring. This is a marksman rifle. Now what I did was I actually added in the bag because I didn't like the idea that the sniper would have a backpack. I feel like that'd be a bit too bulky for him, so he's got this pack here and this pack here full of spare ammo, a couple extra rounds, a water cask kind of thing. Not a cask, water canteen. I added a scope, which is actually the end of a rifle. I can't remember which rifle it is, but I slapped it on there. Painted a little bit of glass with a little bit of lens shine. And yeah, the pose just kind of sells him as a marksman. Now, those are my basic Cadians, or Kasserkin, sorry. I've also got Kriegsmen here. And funny enough, originally I was only going to do 1 squad of Kriegsmen. Now these guys count as my Cadians, and my original Cadian models, the green ones, they're my Kriegsmen. Because I noticed the Kriegsmen actually get the cool Grim Resolve and all those other special rules. But yeah, I have an officer here with a book. I really like books for these guys. I've got a bunch of basic riflemen. I'm not going to show you all the riflemen. Oh, and of course he just broke. That's okay. I'll glue him back into one piece. Just like, I'll do that off camera real quick. Alrighty, all better now. So I'm not going to show you all the riflemen because they're just basic riflemen. Nothing crazy. They don't even have bayonets because I actually ran out completely at this point. These were the last unit I made. Actually, no, these guys were the last ones these are the ones that I really ran out of bits. So my melta gun actually uses the other one. Again, I might just convert these guys back, but there's a melta gun there. Oh, that's another rifleman. This is my plasma gunner. This is a Sisters of Battle plasma gun. Is it? Sorry, looking back, actually, that might be the one I super glued wrong. It doesn't matter. You get it. Plasma gun, it works. The Flamer I actually didn't mind too much. This is a few kits. It's I believe it's a Space Marine shotgun of some kind right here. This is just a normal hand. This originally was holding a sword. I cut off the bit. Now it's like a flamer here, and then I added in a flamer tip at the top, and one of those Desert Nomad, Ash Waste Nomad water packs or whatever they are. And just this random bit of stuff that could look like something. But yeah, another portable flamer. Now, that's kind of it for basic infantry. We can move on to more special stuff, specifically my officers, because I already showed a bunch of stuff. These are my commissars. It's got a little, probably the infantryman's primer. Another one. And my final commissar. Then I also had a psyker. I really liked the kind of suffering look these guys had. They were from the flagellant machine thing. And my most important model is Ursula Creed. I also ran my Mongols that I showed on this as I ran a bunch of them as Attilan Rough Riders, and the Warlord I ran as Lord Solar Leontis. Leontis survived with a giant squad of like 16 guys. Creed also survived just barely. She in the end had she had 1 wound left and 2 allies. It was like Nork and I think like a single Cadian or something. But she did every game she's done really good. But yeah, that's my entire army. So essentially, I've got a few more bits and pieces, but most of them are not really anything to worry about. It's essentially a unit of Bulgrin, 3 or 4 units of Cadians, a unit of Death Corps, 2 units of Kasserkin, command squad in there, 3 commissars, 3 Castellans, Sly Marbo, of course, and a Ministorum priest and a psyker. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Pretty long video, but yeah, see you next time.